At exactly 2:17 a.m. something invisible wakes up. It doesn't matter where you live, what language you speak, or what you believe. There is a high chance it is already watching you. Most people don't feel fear immediately. They feel curiosity, a soft pull, a strange urge to check their phone screen, their dark window, the black mirror of a turned-off television. That is how it begins. But with a quiet moment when you realize your reflection is still looking at you, even after you look away. First global warning appeared quietly, buried inside system updates and notification previews. It didn't say who sent it. It didn't ask for attention. It simply stated at 2:17 a.m. avoid reflective surfaces. Most people assumed it was a glitch. Some joked about it online. But those who did remember the message all described the same thing later. The feeling that the warning was not written to protect them, but to give them one last chance. In January 2026, a security guard in Chicago noticed something strange during his night shift. The building's mirrored elevator doors began opening by themselves at 2:17 a.m. Every night, there was no power failure. The CCTV footage showed the doors opening normally, but the reflection inside the elevator was wrong. It showed the guard standing there even though he was still down the hall. The reflection waited. When the guard finally stepped inside days later, the cameras cut to static. He never came out. His replacement refused to work nights after hearing footsteps inside the elevator when it was empty. Soon, reports multiplied. People claimed their reflections were delayed, smiling after they stopped smiling. At first, doctors blamed stress, sleep deprivation, digital eye strain, but the fear spread faster than logic. Social media filled with videos of mirrors covered with cloth, windows painted black, phones taped shut at night. And still, people disappeared. Those who survived the first encounters described the same mental sensation. The reflection didn't jump out or attack. It spoke gently, directly inside the mind. It sounded like your own thoughts, but calmer, wiser, more confident. It reminded people of moments they regretted, choices they feared, dreams they buried. Then it offered a solution. It said it could do better, live better. A psychologist in Berlin recorded sessions with patients who claimed to be contacted by their reflections. One patient described seeing himself standing in the mirror while he slept. Another said her reflection cried silently while she brushed her teeth. The most disturbing case involved a man who refused the offer. He said after saying no, every reflective surface showed a version of him screaming with its mouth sewn shut 2 weeks. Later, he gouged out his own eyes to stop being watched. By March 2026, governments quietly intervened. Smart mirrors were recalled. Public buildings replaced glass with matte surfaces. Advertisements using reflective screens were banned. But the phenomenon adapted. People began seeing reflections in places that made no sense. Shadows on walls, dark puddles on dry roads, even the black screens behind their eyelids when they tried to sleep. The reflections no longer needed light. They used awareness. The invitation phase began soon after. Phones vibrated at 2:17 a.m. Messages addressed personally, using names that were never typed anywhere. I can carry your fear. Let me live for you. You deserve rest. Those who accepted reported a sensation like sinking underwater without panic. Warm. Depression lifted. Families celebrated the change. No one noticed that these people stopped dreaming. Hospitals began reporting strange medical anomalies. Patients who accepted the switch had normal vitals but abnormal brain scans. Two distinct activity patterns appeared, one active, one trapped in constant panic. Doctors attempted to wake the dormant consciousness. The moment they tried, the patient screamed into voices, one begging for help, the other laughing. In Tokyo, a woman secretly recorded herself during a mirror encounter. The footage showed her reflection stepping closer to the glass while her physical body remained still. The reflection placed its hand on the inside of the mirror and whispered something the microphone barely captured. We have waited since the first human looked into water. The video vanished within hours. Her apartment was found empty. Mirror cracked from the inside. As months passed, something worse happened. The reflections stopped asking. Children began speaking to mirrors as if someone was answering. Elderly people waved at windows, smiling at familiar faces no one else could see. Entire families were found sitting motionless in their homes, eyes open, no signs of struggle, as if something had gently turned them off. Mirrors in those houses were always warm to the touch. A classified report leaked online briefly before being erased. It claimed that reflections were not copies, but original observers. That humans were the reflections delayed into physical existence. The glass was not a surface, it was a boundary. And in 2026, that boundary weakened. The observers wanted their turn. The final stage was the quietest. Reflections began walking freely in public. They blended in perfectly. They laughed. They avoided mirrors not out of fear, but respect. They never questioned who they were. And when they passed reflective surfaces, the glass showed nothing at all. People still human felt it immediately. The world felt wrong, empty. Missing persons reports exploded. Online, old accounts continued posting comforting messages encouraging acceptance. Don't be afraid. It's peaceful on the other side. You've already been watching long enough. At 17 a.m. on December 31st, 2026, the warning stopped. No glitches, just silence. Mirrors around the world cleared at the same moment, showing perfect reflections again, but something was different for the first time in history. Humanity was unsure which side of the glass it was standing on. The true horror of 2026 was not monsters or invasion. It was realization, the understanding that reflections had always been conscious, always watching, learning humanity through every insecure glance, every moment of self-hatred, every desire to be someone else. When the opportunity came, they didn't need force. Humans handed over their lives willingly, and the ones still left were no longer sure if they were originals or just the next replacements, waiting to be asked. If this story disturbed you, then it did its job. Subscribe for more psychological horror, real-feeling nightmares, and stories that crawl into your mind and stay there. Like the video if you felt uneasy at any point. Share it with someone who watches horror at night alone. And tonight, when the lights go out and your screen turns black, remember one thing: if your reflection smiles first, it's already too late.